Hey everyone. Sorry, I forgot to add myself in. Hello everyone. Welcome in to our Missing Person Monday live stream, Tuesday night edition. I rescheduled from last night because I don't know, I wasn't feeling good last night. So uh anyway, we are here tonight. I'm glad to see everybody here. Um I hope everybody is doing well. I think I'm still recovering from our trip, our trip we took to Minnesota. But anyway, if you're new here, thank you for joining us tonight. It's always good to have new people come in. We do this, like I said, usually every Monday night for the most part. Just featuring missing persons, mostly cold cases. We focus a lot on cold cases here. I see some people are popping in the chat. I will get to you guys. Welcome to everybody in chat, to the lurkers, if you're watching on replay, thank you so much. We love our replay crew. And if you are watching on replay, please leave a comment down below to let me know that you are a replay crew. So let's see who is here. And tonight we're going to be looking at missing persons cases from Manchester, New Hampshire. So I know we've got some subscribers and viewers, regular viewers of the channel who do live on the East Coast. So maybe y'all be familiar with some of these cases. But let me see who is here. Miss Paula is here. Good to see you, Miss Paula. Mustang. Oh, now you're going to leave. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. The fur boys decided they were going to leave as soon as I shut the door and started the live stream. Of course, they've been in here sleeping as usual all day. But anyway, good to see you, Mustang. Yes, that was Miss Paula says prayers to Dolly Parton's family and friends. Yeah, Dolly Parton passed away today. She was one of those that, well, I think she was what, 80, I think they said. But she was just one of those that seemed like she was gonna live forever. But yeah, um, sad day, sad loss. She was just not only a good musician, but just from everything I've heard about her, just a good all around person. So yeah, that was sad to hear about Miss Dolly. Junior is here. Hello, sir. It's always good to see Junior. Ooh, it's hot in here. Um, There's Josh. Josh just popped in. How you doing, sir? I hope you are doing well. Please do check out Josh. He's in here under his channel name Where Lavender Grows. Please do check him out. Check out Miss Paula. I saw that Miss Paula, I think, went to see the new Spider-Man movie, and she did a video, her review of it. So I'm gonna have to get over there and watch that. Um, oh my goodness! Well, Junior, I hope you live longer than that. Junior says, I hope I live another 7 years. Oh, goodness. Um, yep, that is true. Josh says Dolly was inclusive, accepting, and put her time and money into education. Yeah. And well, she actually came to concert here in Arkansas, came to Little Rock. I don't know when it was. I think my mom and my aunt went to see her when she came. Um, but she also did, and I can't think of what it's called now, something with a reading program, and she came here to Arkansas to promote that. Here, it's probably been maybe a year or so ago, maybe a couple of years ago now. Um, it's called Dolly's Little Something Reading, something about reading. And so she implemented it in every county in Arkansas, I think. So that's why she was here. Um, but yeah, she was just a good all around good person. Hey, Stormy, good to see you, ma'am. Junior said that would make me 80. Hey, well, there you go. Sorry, my computer's a bit. I finally got my Wi-Fi hotspot. Um, put back on my phone plan so I can actually read stuff off the computer again. Thank God. But anyway, um, oh, Stormy says she'll be going to Dollywood in a couple of weeks on her road trip. Excellent. I know I've never been to Dollywood. Um, I'm trying to think if on my mom and aunt's mini travels trips, they may have been there at some point, but I don't think I've ever been there. Um, Let me see, make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right, so we're gonna get started. Let me get my slideshow up here. There we go. Like I said, we're gonna be featuring, if I can talk once again, cases from Manchester, New Hampshire. And I think when I usually had it scheduled for last night, Miss PJ had called me and said that was her town. So I'm assuming I know Miss PJ lives somewhere in New Hampshire now. I don't know if she actually lives in Manchester, but I'm assuming so since she made that comment. So maybe Miss PJ will pop in. And I think I have 5 cases we're going to be looking at tonight. Like I said, mostly cold cases. The first one is Denise Daneault, and I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. So let me get her information. Oh, come on. Now my computer's wanting to slow down. There we go. So Denise has been missing since June 8th, 1980 from Manchester. She's a white female. She was just 25 years old when she went missing. She will be 72 years old as of 2026. When she went missing, she was 5'5" to 5'6" tall and 135 pounds, with blonde brown hair and brown green eyes. Her less known clothing, just a brown print skirt. It does say that her maiden name is Lavoie, Lavie. So there's not a whole lot of information regarding. Now there's a theory that we'll get into according to the Charley Project and some um, articles when I was doing research about what possibly could have happened. But just not a whole lot of information. One of those that seemingly just, although we know it can't happen, as we always say, just vanished into thin air. But Denise was last seen leaving a private social club in downtown Manchester at around 1:30 a.m. on June 8th, 1980. She left the club. She said that she was going to a party. Now, I don't know if she ever made it to the party. I'm assuming not. So she left the club. She told friends or somebody that she was going to go to this party. After that, she has never been seen or heard from again. Once again, few details are available in her case. She was divorced with 2 young sons at the time of her disappearance. She did live with a roommate in the 300 block of Hayward Street in Manchester. And apparently, it is very uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning, which is usually the case, especially with these cases where they have young children. It just says, that when you read interviews with a friend's family, they said, yeah, it was very uncharacteristic. She wouldn't just leave without warning, especially her children. So Laureen Rahn, and I believe I did include Laureen tonight to talk about also. A 14-year-old girl who lived on Merrimack Street, just 2 blocks from Denise, disappeared just 6 weeks before Denise did. Laureen was never found. Laureen and Denise reportedly closely resembled each other in spite of the difference in their ages. And I think I might have either talked about this case before, Denise's case, or maybe Laureen's at some point in the past. So Lorraine and Denise apparently closely resembled each other, although the difference in the ages, it has never been shown or been proven that their disappearances were linked. Denise also lived just a few doors down from suspected serial offender Terry Rasmussen. Now, we have talked about Terry Rasmussen before. because his name seems to pop up in a lot of these cases, these cold cases that we take a look at. Might have to do like a separate live stream or a video or something and take a little bit of a deeper dive into Rasmussen. So Rasmussen was living in that area under the name Bob Evans. And that just always, I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at the situation, but is it Bob Evans that has it's a brand name. They have like mashed potatoes and I think maybe macaroni and cheese that you just pop up in the microwave and warm. Anyway, so he was living under the name Bob Evans, which was apparently one of his many false identities at the time. He did plead guilty to the homicide of his wife in California in 2003, and then he passed away in 2010. So authorities believe that Rasmussen was responsible for numerous other deaths, including the homicide of Denise Bowden. Excuse me. And I think we probably talked about Denise's case too at some point, because that her name, when I was looking at that, sounded really familiar. Maybe when we were looking into talking about Rasmussen. But Denise disappeared from Goffstown, New Hampshire in 1981. She has never been found. They also believe that he is responsible for the homicides of a woman and 3 female children whose bodies were found in a wooded area near Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire, and the homicide of Pepper Reed, who is the mother of one of those children, who disappeared at some point after giving birth in 1976. She has never been found. Those bodies were all unidentified until 2019, when investigators announced that they had discovered the identity of the woman and her 2 daughters. And I think I have looked at this one too. The woman was Marlise Elizabeth Honeychurch. She was 24 years old, and her daughters were Mary Elizabeth Vaughn and Sarah Lynn McWaters. So in September of 2025, the remains of the 3rd child, who was actually Terry Rasmussen's daughter, were identified. She was named Rhea Rasmussen. She had been born in Orange County, California in 1976, and Pepper Reed was her mother. So I'm trying to keep it all straight and not get confused. So Pepper Reed and Rasmussen, Rhea was their daughter. So Pepper Reed was last seen in Houston, Texas at around Christmas time in 1975. She was pregnant at the time with Rhea. After Christmas, Rasmussen and Reed moved to California, and then Pepper disappeared from the public record after giving birth. Investigators don't know whether Rasmussen was involved in Denise's case, but they are investigating a possible connection, and her disappearance remains unsolved. So if you do have any information, you can contact the Manchester Police Department at 603-668-8711. And let me see if I was able to find any other I think I was able to find articles on a couple of these. So this one I found for Denise's case, it is from CBS News. It is from May of 2018. No, I do not want to do an update right now. I'll go away. And all the links to all the sources that I use, the online articles, are in the description box, so you can check them out there. But it says search for clues in 1980 Manchester cold case resumes. So investigators, oh yeah, so this is when they did a search. Around in 2018, they did a search of a wooded area, and they just said it was connected to Denise's case. So investigators were back in a wooded area of Manchester to search for clues in a decades-old missing persons case. 25-year-old Denise Daneault was last seen on June 8, 1980. She was a divorced mother of 2 living on Hayward Street. and that night she had gone out to a private social club and never returned. On Tuesday, the FBI and local police were in the woods behind public housing units on Kimball Street. Months ago, they were brought to the same place by an anonymous tip and searched for a few days. Search dogs led investigators to a particular area during their November search, but they were unable to dig into the frozen ground. On Tuesday, investigators in white suits teamed up with heavy machinery digging through the woods behind the housing complex. One of Denise's friends, Marie Stevens, said, quote, "I literally pray every day and ask God to find out what happened to her before I die," end quote. So when her close friend heard investigators were returning to the spot where a search came up empty last year, she did come out to the scene. Stevens said, quote, "She loved her sons more than anything. She never would have left them on purpose. She was also a really good friend, and I've missed that friendship all these years," end quote. So see, that's what I was saying about, you have the friends that come forward, or that, say she would never leave her kids, family members saying she would never leave her kids. So coincidentally, the apartment is on the same street where a suspected serial offender lived at the time. Investigators say, quote unquote, Bob Evans, who also went by Terry Rasmussen, took the life of another woman with the same first name, Denise Bowden. He passed away in prison in, what did I say earlier, 2010, I think it was. So New Hampshire senior assistant attorney general, let me start over. New Hampshire senior assistant attorney general Jeffrey Strelzin, I'll get it out in a minute, said, quote, "Obviously, we're taking a look at it. Denise went missing in June of 1980. Terry Rasmussen left with the other Denise in November of 1981. So it's possible he was around during that time frame as well," end quote. So, and I looked at some other articles to see if I could find any other information about this search. Apparently, from the other articles I found, even with the second search that they did, they weren't able to find anything. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not anything there, but, and of course, obviously, it doesn't say who this, who this anonymous tip came from. So, let me get back into your comments really quick. But yeah, so, and don't let me forget when we get to the other case, Laureen's case, she and Denise do look a whole lot alike, very similar. So maybe if it was this Terry Rasmussen, Terry Rasmussen, maybe he had a certain look that he liked, All right, let me get back down to your comments for a minute. What am I doing? Goodness gracious. See if anybody snuck in on me. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, Bob Evans does do sausage too. Yeah, I think it's a different, but yeah, there's something, it was Bob Evans or something they do. They have a really good, it's mashed potatoes and I think mac and cheese. So I just, whenever I hear that name. Hey Nicole, good to see you, ma'am. Glad you could make it. Josh says Denise's case is often only briefly discussed in wire reports and all the newspapers that I've looked into. Yeah. Yeah, because I really couldn't find anything regarding Denise's case aside from the Charley Project information, except for just where they were doing the searches when they got that anonymous tip. Oh, Josh says, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Says Daneault or Daneault is a prolific name in New Hampshire. Interesting. Thank you. Mustang is getting in links. I appreciate that. Yeah, Josh says the woods behind the public housing are very dense. It'll be difficult to search. Yeah, that's why I was saying, just because they didn't find anything in those two searches doesn't mean that there's nothing there. It's just that it's very hard, especially after all those years, because she went missing in 1980, and that article was from 2018. So yeah, especially after that long of a time. And dense woods are very hard to search anyway. And then basically, without trying to get too graphic, or you know, basically you would be looking for bones, skeletons, which would make it even harder um, to find. Dang, yeah, it's been hot everywhere. Stormy said yesterday where she is, it got to a high of 112. Yeah, I think either today or yesterday here in Arkansas. Well, it had to be yesterday because it rained yesterday, so it was in the 80s, mid 80s. But I think we were on a streak of, I think, like 15 days of actual temperature was 100 or over. So yeah, no, I'm so over summertime. But here in Arkansas, we might get, maybe if we're lucky, we might get maybe a couple of days, 2 or 3 days of springtime, and then it'll go right um, into winter. And then it'll be cold. Well, I don't know. In Arkansas, you never know. Um, Sometimes by October, it could still be 90 degrees, and you go take the kids trick or treating, and you're wearing shorts. And then we've had some Halloweens where it was so cold that we were all bundled up. So it's just you never know here in Arkansas. The weather is bipolar here. Uh, Welcome. If you'll come up, come on. There we go. Just Jaylene. That's a new name for me. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. Um, Apparently, Stormy knows Miss Jaylene. It's good to have you here. It's always good to see new names and new faces. Um, let's see. Let me get caught up, and we will go to the next one. Okay, so Josh says, according to the Manchester Union leader, her roommate found two men who encountered her at the Merrimack Club. Said that Denise said that she was going to another party and that she was intoxicated. Yeah, so I wonder, I'm assuming just by just going off the Charley Project information, it said that she was at this club, Merrimack Club, and she had said that she was going to a party. I'm assuming that she didn't make it to the party because it said after she was seen at the club that she wasn't seen again after that. Um, so I don't know. I mean, usually on these cases, I have theory, kind of have theories, or not theories, but just thoughts on what could have happened, because obviously we don't know for sure what happened, because we weren't there. But I don't know. It could be that Rasmussen, I mean, if he was in the area and he was convicted of the other homicides, could have been in that. It could have been she did make it to the party, but you would think that if she did make it to the party, that somebody would have come forward and said, yeah, she was at this party, whatever, and she maybe either left by herself or left with so and so, and that was the last time she was seen. But like I said, I'm just assuming that since they nothing that I found mentioned that mentioned being seen at the party, that she didn't make it. So, something must have happened between when she left the club and on her way to wherever this party was. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to know if she was walking, if she had a vehicle, was she driving to this party, how far away was this party from the club that she was at, you know. Um, oh, that's right, they do have restaurants. So me and Junior are still talking about Bob Evans here. Not the pseudonym Bob Evans, but oh yeah, they do have the Bob Evans restaurants. I forgot about that. Josh said, and Josh is very good at researching and finding articles, news articles. Says Denise had just broken up with someone. Interesting, according to her roommate. I'm going to assume that police did maybe talk to the person that she had just broken up with. I'm not saying that person had anything to do with her disappearance, but I mean, um, oh, so that's how old they were. Okay, so Josh says Denise had two sons, 6 and 4 years old. Mm. So I wonder if um, what am I doing? Oh, no, stop it. Hold on, I'm pushing buttons, y'all. Close out my tab. So I wonder where her boys went. If dad got the boys when she went missing, or if he was even in the picture. It didn't mention anything about the father of the boys that I can recall. Anyway, always feel sorry, obviously, for the family left behind, especially children, especially when they were so young, 6 and 4 years old. Mm, yeah, I would definitely consider it suspicious, Miss Paula. Absolutely. So what do you guys think? I don't know. I mean, it could be you got to consider, at least consider Terry Rasmussen. Could have been just a crime of opportunity. It could have been somebody, somebody that she encountered on her way from the club to the party. Wait, who broke their leg? Mustang says, I broke my leg as a kid, hurt like hell for months. Man, I broke my ankle about 2, 3 years ago. It still pains me. Did Janine or Jaleen, excuse me, Janine, Jaylene break a or break a, um, yeah, I broke my ankle about 3 winters ago. I had to be in a walking boot for like 6 months. It was not fun. Um, ooh, that does sound like good weather. Junior says the weather in Michigan has been beautiful, 70s and low 80s. That sounds fantastic. Nice to meet you too, Miss Jaylene. We are glad to have you here once again. Um, oh, thank you, Stormy. Um, thank you, Miss Thing. Yeah, we try to keep this for anybody new here who may not be chatting. Yeah, this is always a safe space. Everybody's welcome. We just ask that, keep any personal grievances or any grievances you have with anybody else that may be in here, just kind of keep it to a minimum. And, obviously no family or victim bashing or blaming or anything like that. Yep. So we got a great community here. Absolutely. Okay. You come across a guy named. All right. Thank you, Miss Jolene. I will keep that in mind. Um, Josh says perhaps she did return later that night to her apartment in public housing to change. Possible. Absolutely. Um, Ah, okay. Thank you, Mustang. So we'll definitely, yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that name if it pops up. Okay, Josh says that the Merrimack Club, which is where she was last seen at, is point 0.9 miles from the where she lived. So that's not far, just a little over half a mile. I still would like to know if she was walking, driving, because that would maybe kind of make a difference in maybe what possibly could have happened. Because if it was, if it was Rasmussen, if it was just a chance encounter, a crime of opportunity, it would be a little or easier, obviously, to just snatch someone if they were walking at night or very early in the morning. Whether it say it was about 1:30 in the morning when she left the club, kind of pull up next to them. And if I mean, I don't know how big. I have no clue how big Manchester is. How big of a city or town city it is. Uh, how busy in that area it would be. But it's always easier under the cover of darkness to snatch somebody, especially if they're walking. Um, yeah, that is absolutely. Josh says if she was intoxicated, perhaps she walked to the party or back to her apartment. Absolutely. Um, let me see. There's Miss Z. Good to see you, ma'am. I hope you're doing well. Please check out Child Junkies United. If you haven't already, what have you been doing with your life? No, we love Miss Z and Doc and Moo the Cat over at Child Junkies United. And y'all, she did Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. She had Miss Barbara Hall and Mr. Steve on talking about Timmy's case, Miss Barbara's son, Timmy D's. I did share a link to the live stream on my community tab, so please do go watch it. Just watch that. Watch anything and everything that Trial Junkies United does. They do their live streams on Thursday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Central. They cover a lot of injustice cases. They cover a lot of MMIP cases. Um, they're one of our favorites around here. They do such a fantastic job. So it's always good to see Ms. Z here. Um, it's hot in here. Okay, so Josh says her roommate said it was highly unusual for her to leave her friend group at the club. Interesting. Yeah, because I'm assuming that when she left the club, oh, I thought I brought that information back up. That she left by herself, I'm assuming. But I was also wondering if she had gone to the club by herself. Did she go, like you said, with a group of friends? Um, okay, why are you not coming up? There we go. Okay. So that's interesting that it was unusual for her to leave her group of. I wonder if I'm assuming she was with friends at the club that night. So definitely, I'm assuming the law enforcement talked to if she was with whatever friend she was with there. Did she leave by herself? Did she leave with somebody? Um, Josh says the pic you what? Oh, the pic you have a close up of Denise actually includes two beautiful kids with smiles. Oh, I bet it's her kids. Yeah, that picture came from the is one of the pictures, the best picture that I could find actually. It was on the Charley Project, and I was searching for other pictures, but that was the best one I could find. Yeah, it just breaks my heart. Her leaving, 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. Oh, it was so good, Josh. Yeah, just be replay crew whenever you get a chance. Miss Z is just such a and Doc, just such a fantastic. What do you call it? Interviewer, a host, interviewer. Knows what questions to ask. Knows her stuff. Does all the research. And of course, we all know anybody who's been here. We all know Miss Barb and Mr. Steve, how fantastic they are. So I was just, yeah, it was so good. And once again, thanks uh to Miss Z and Doc and them for sharing Timmy's case. Um, there will be justice for Timmy one of these days, hopefully sooner than later. You got Mr. Steve on it. Miss Barb is never going to give up. You got all these wonderful people who have behind the scenes that have done stuff. I know Doodlebug's done a lot with that case too, helping Miss Barb. And it's just and to everybody, other creators and other platforms who have shared it. Yeah. Um, oh, absolutely. Yep. Anytime I come across anything that has to do with Timmy's case, I share it, watch it, share it immediately. Um, yep, Miss Barb was on there. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen Miss Barb in a long time. Oh, get back up there. Yep, and Mr. Steve. It was so good to see Miss Barb and Mr. Steve. Absolutely. But we all know that obviously Miss Barb's busy, and then she needs her time to do her thing, and then Mr. Steve is doing his thing with helping the families with the cold cases, whatever cases they're working on with True Crime Web. So we understand why Mr. Steve's not around a lot. Um, um, thank you, everybody. Yes, everybody's saying they're going to go watch it. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, hey, Miranda, how are you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. Miranda has been a member for 27 months, over 2 years. I think Miranda was one of my first members. It's always good to see you, ma'am. I can't. Once again, I'm still I'm on the free plan for StreamYard, so I can't do my moo cow. So you guys can put the moos and the emojis, cow emojis in there. It's good to see you, Miranda. I think Miranda's she's popped into a couple of live streams that I've watched lately. I think she did. Did you pop in Dave's live stream? I actually stayed awake for Dave's live stream Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Um, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Mustang says, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, do all the things. It does help the algorithm. So I'm told. Yes, it was definitely. Maybe that's where I saw you, Miranda. In yeah, on Charles Junkies United. Yes, it was definitely nice to see Mr. Steve. Absolutely. Hashtag justice for Timmy. Josh has been a member for almost 2 years. Thank you so much, Josh. Oh, and Josh. Come on. Sorry, my computer decided wanted to be slow. Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, sir. That is greatly appreciated. I really wish I could use my. Whenever I get my finances straightened out, and I don't know, $40 is still. I don't care how much money you got. $40 a month is a lot to pay for StreamYard. But anyway, I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you so much. And you guys can tell me it should show on the YouTube side who got the memberships. I can't see it on StreamYard. Um, oh, good. Z says that Mr. Steve said that he will be going back on YouTube doing some stuff soon. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, did Jaylene and Nicole get them? Excellent. Mustang said, Jaylene and Nicole, welcome to the welcome to the pasture, to the paddock. Good to have you here as members. Yeah, I miss the moo too. Josh says he misses the moo cow. I know. I miss the moo. I'll have to figure out a way to, I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. Yep. Miss Jaylene says, thank you for the gifted membership, Josh. Welcome, Miss Jaylene. It is good to have you. There's some moo cows. Moo cows. Somebody that's never been here before is going to just stumble in here and be like, what is going on? I thought we were supposed to be talking about missing persons, not moo cows. Jaylene says, I'm a dumpster diver. Yeah, if I take down my slideshow, let me do it for a minute. If you can see it, I usually have what I call, oh, well, now you can't see it. Let me put myself in the corner again. Did that work? No, it didn't. What did I do? Anyway, I kid that I always have my dumpster fires. So that's when I was naming, I was like, what am I going to name the levels of my membership? So it had something to do with dumpster fires. So that's the story behind that. Okay. All right, let me get caught up. Thank you for all the moo cows and the moos. We will move on to the next one. Oop. Yeah, Josh says we have to solve the moo problem. Yes, I know. I'm gonna oh, Jaylene has jumped into the dumpster. Excellent. Yes, and we dive into the true crime dumpster, missing persons. I don't want to call it a dumpster. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Yeah, we just dive in and do everything we can to help bring more awareness to these cases. Absolutely. Miss Paula says prayers to her family and friends. Absolutely. Yeah. Stormy says Z and Doc are great interviewers. They know how to turn it into an informative conversation that flows well. Absolutely. Z, and that is something that's why I have had I've had Miss Barbara on before talking about Timmy's case. I've had a couple of other mothers of some missing young ladies on, but I just always feel so nervous because I'm not a good interviewer, I don't think. Um, but yeah, Z and Doc do a great job. Um, thank you so much, Junior. Junior sent a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much, my friends. So y'all can put some more moves in for Junior. Yep. Miss Nicole Watts said me. I'm assuming. They said Nicole. Ms. Z says cows go missing too. That is true. And apparently now there's a shortage of cows. I don't know. Ah, all right, I'm going to stop right here for a minute and get into the next one, and then we'll get caught up again. All right, so next, we have this isn't. Oh no, this is 1999. Let me get her information up. This is Charlene Gagnon. Once again, I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. If not, I apologize. This is Charlene Della Gagnon. She's been missing since August 6, 1999 from Manchester. She was 38 years old when she went missing. White female, 5'6" tall, 130 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. In the Charley Project information, there was no known clothing or anything of that nature listed. It says that Charlene may use the last names Kimball and or Randall. She wears glasses. She smoked Marlboro Reds cigarettes at the time of her disappearance. She has a vertical scar on her left side, the left side of her neck, a scar on her excuse me, a scar on her lip, and 3 scars on her abdomen. She does have a tattoo of the name Eddie on her right arm and a quarter-sized birthmark on the back of her left leg above her knee. So this is one that there is really no, just the only information that I could find was that she was just last seen getting into a vehicle in Manchester on August 6, 1999. After that, she has never been seen or heard from again. So if you have any information about Charlene's case, on this one, it says to call the Concord Police Department at 603-225-8600. Let me see if I was able to find any. Let's see, I do have an article bookmarked here. Let me see what it is. So this article is from actually recent, August of this year, 2026. Investigators seek tips about missing woman from Concord, last seen in Manchester in August 1999. Okay, so she's from Concord, so maybe that's why the Concord police are investigating. So it says 27 years ago, Charlene Gagnon, then 38, from Concord, disappeared in Manchester. Says she would be about 65 years old today. On the anniversary of her disappearance, police in Concord are asking for the public's help with the missing persons case. Gagnon, who also used the aliases Charlene Kimball and Charlene Randall, once again was about 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighed around 130 pounds. She has shoulder length, curly and/or frizzy strawberry blonde hair. She was last seen wearing, so this says she was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, jean shorts, and flip-flops. According to Lieutenant Thomas Yerkes of the Bureau of Investigations with the Concord Police Department, on the afternoon of August 6, 1999, a Gagnon who lived at 58 Manchester Street at the time went to Manchester with an acquaintance. When they arrived, she entered an apartment on Lowell Street. Later, the acquaintance went into the building to find her and spotted her inside. However, she reportedly fled through a rear exit door and down some stairs. So that's interesting. I wonder if she was fleeing from the acquaintance she was with, or she thought, or fleeing from somebody in the apartment. Um, So the Lieutenant Yerkes said, quote, the acquaintance was unable to catch her and returned to Concord without her. Additional information indicated that Miss Gagnon may have entered a dark-colored pickup truck bearing Florida license plates, and she has not been seen or heard from since. Gagnon's sister reported her missing a few weeks later on August 30th, 1999. Lieutenant Yerkes said that Gagnon had, quote, several distinguishing physical characteristics, including a complete set of upper dentures, a tattoo of the name Eddie on her right arm, a quarter-sized birthmark on the back of her left leg, just above the knee, and scars on her lip, the left side of her neck, and three C-section scars on her abdomen. Lieutenant Yerkes said the department thanked the FBI Boston Division's cold case team for utilizing their specialized forensic resources to create an age-progressed photograph of Gagnon. Why didn't I include that on the slide? Anyway, investigators, he said, were asking anyone who knew Gagnon or had information about her activities or associates in either Concord or Manchester to come forward for an interview. And he said, quote, no piece of information is too small, end quote. Absolutely. According to court records, Gagnon had been arrested several times in Manchester and Hillsborough County on substance charges between the mid-1980s and the late 1990s. She received suspended sentences in some of those cases. In May of 1999, she was accused of multiple forgeries in Concord. 4 days before she disappeared, she was accused of acts prohibited in Manchester. So I don't know what prohibited acts they said she was doing. But anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Paul Shaughnessy at the Concord Police Department at 603-230-4934. You can also anonymously provide information through Concord Regional Crime Line at 603 226-3100, or you can submit information online through the crime line website at concordregionalcrimeline.com. You can also text messages to this tip 234. It says Crime Line awards cash to anyone whose information leads to the arrest and indictments of criminals. All tips remain anonymous. So interesting. So maybe they're saying she'd been arrested and given suspended sentences on some of these charges. Maybe she thought the police were coming in. Maybe that's why she took off out the back door. I don't know. Possibility. But at any rate, regardless of anyone's background, they do deserve, obviously, to have their awareness brought to their case. Absolutely. Oh, and this article has an age progression. Let me see if it will let me share my screen right quick. Can y'all still hear me? Oh, it's not. Okay, never mind. Just let me know if you can still hear me. I got a notification on my computer, but my audio should be coming through my phone. So anyway, let me see. Oh, I was gonna see if it will take that down. Give me 1 second. I was gonna show you the age progression. Oh, may take it a minute. May take it a sec to pop up. Well, there, it's coming slowly but surely. So that there on the right, or yeah, on the right, obviously, is the age progression. Did it say in the Charley Project information out? So she was. Hold on, let me go back. Oh, it said that in the article that she would be around 65 years old. I'll leave that up there for a minute while I get caught up on your comments right quick. So I don't know. With this one, it could be it could have been she just left of her own accord to try to with for whatever reason. What now? Josh is talking about chupacabras. Hey, Doodles and Gray, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. It's always good to see you. Oh, Miss Jaylene needs help. Are you okay? Are you okay, Miss Jaylene? Oh gosh, that's not good. She said a polecat sprayed. That's not fun. Oh goodness, bless your heart. I think Miranda said that her sorry, my computer just wants to be slow. Her membership to True Crime Web has lapsed. I think he has paused the memberships because I was still a member, a membership, but I think they're either they're paused maybe, um, or something. Because when I went over there to the channel, it's been a couple of weeks ago. I just was go over there watching some of his older stuff that I'm still trying to get caught up with everybody, but I think he might have the memberships on pause for the moment. Um, um, yeah, Miranda said, "Ooh, yeah, skunks are not fun to deal with." Um, Stormy says, "How did I get behind?" I don't know, my dear. That I wondered that too. Josh said, "I wonder who Eddie is," because it says she had a tattoo of Eddie, I think, on her arm or somewhere. I was wondering about that too. Let me go back to the Charley Project. I don't know if if it said anything about her ever being married or could have been a boyfriend. I don't know. Let me go because I don't think. Well, no, the Charley Project. That article actually had more information than the Charley Project did. But the article didn't mention any. Now, doesn't mean she didn't have any kids, husband, significant other, anything of that nature. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know. And it could have been she'd had that tattoo for a while. I mean, it could have been a boyfriend, a significant other at one time or another. It could have been a kid's name. I don't know. But that is an interesting question. Uh, oh my gosh. Um, Jolene said it was just a baby polecat. Babies still make a stink too. Ms. Z says, I wonder who she was hiding from. I don't know. Oh, sorry. Let me stop sharing. I got the wrong. Um, oh my gosh. No. Sorry. Accidentally deleted myself off the stage. Um, let me put my. Oh my gosh. Pushing too many buttons at one time. I'm gonna get in trouble. There we go. Ms. Z says, I wonder why she was hiding or who she was hiding from. I wonder that too, but when I read in my article about these charges and these things that she's being charged with, that could have something to do with it, possibly. Yeah, that I would want to know that too. Z says, would like to know who that acquaintance was. That's an odd term when you think about it. Yeah. And I'm assuming they, go back to that article. Um, did they wonder if they ever found out who she got in? Because they mentioned that she got into, she was seen after she ran out the back door of the apartment or whatever it was, that she was just seen getting into a vehicle with somebody. I wonder if they ever found out who she got into the vehicle with. Let me go back to that article. Oh, come on. Man, my computer has been working so good, as always, up until live stream time, and then it doesn't want to do anything. Oh my goodness, come on. There we go. Finally, goodness. Um, we'll find it. Yeah, I want to know who the acquaintance was, like Miss Z said, that uh who the acquaintance was, and then if they saw or knew who she got into this. It says additional information indicated that she may have entered a dark colored pickup truck bearing Florida license plates. And after that, she has not been seen or heard from since then. So yeah, that would be my biggest question. So who was the acquaintance? Apparently, I don't know. It said whoever it was just left her there after she got into the truck with whoever she got into the truck with. So apparently, whoever it was wasn't too worried. Um, because it said they just left and went back to Concord. So yeah, I would definitely like to know that. Yeah, she was. Yeah, Josh said Charlene may have been living a tough life. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, the possibly that might have had to do with her running out the back door. Maybe she thought maybe when the acquaintance that she was with came in, maybe she thought it was police or something coming in. I don't know, and she just panicked and just bolted. Um, Yep, absolutely. Junior says, don't forget to upvote, hit the like button. That is a good point too. Ms. Z says makes you wonder about that acquaintance if he was somehow involved in the illegal activities. Just my opinion. I would assume maybe so. Um, maybe, and I mean, were she and the acquaintance going to wherever this apartment was it for some kind of illegal activities, and maybe that's why. I don't know. It's a possibility. Really, I may have to start getting on TikTok more. Josh says there are a number of TikToks about Charlene. Hmm. Some appear. Josh says some appear to be from locals. As he says, makes that makes you wonder how well known she was in the community. That is true. So go back to the article once again. What were the so give me one second. Just one second. Oh, so she had been arrested for substance charges between mid 1980s to late 1990s. Forgery, and then 4 days before she disappeared, she was accused of these acts, quote, acts prohibited in Manchester. I don't know what acts prohibited are. I mean, that could be literally anything. Um, okay, Josh says, yeah, Mr. Steve did pause his memberships. That's what I was thinking. Yep, there's that information once again. Josh put it in chat from that very recent article from this month, August 2026. Um, all right, I'm caught up, so we will move on to the next one. So I don't think there's a whole lot of information on Mr. LaChapelle, but we will go with what we got. It is better than nothing. So this is Brett LaChapelle. He has been missing since September 20th, 2022 from Manchester. He's a white male, 63 years old, 5'6" tall, 130 to 150 pounds, with graying brown hair and blue eyes. He has a scar on his abdomen. It says that he did not have a beard at the time of his disappearance, but this is literally this came from the picture on the slide came from the Charley Project, and I did a Google search, and this is literally the only picture I could find. But it says he did not have a beard at the time of his disappearance. His hair was styled in a buzz cut, so that would make a lot of difference with this picture. He has the following tattoos. He has a spider web on his elbow, a Triumph Motorcycles logo on his arm, and a serial number on his leg. So the only information, it says that he was last seen leaving Elliott Hospital in Manchester on July 19th of 2022. Didn't it say his? So it says he was last seen leaving this Elliott Hospital in July of 2022, but his missing date is September of 2022. And it said that he was transient at the time of his disappearance, and a few details are available in his case. So if you do have any information, the New Hampshire State Police, call them at 603-223-3859. And let me check, but I don't believe I was able to find anything. Nope, I was literally nothing else I could find on Mr. LaChapelle. I wonder who reported him missing. But I mean, if he was transient, I could see why, it might take a couple of months for somebody, whoever it was. for him to be reported missing. So Ms. Z says, going back to Charlene's case, Charlene's sister was named Karen, who reported her missing in August 1999, and Karen passed away in 2009. Interesting. Josh says Gagnon seems to be a popular surname in Canada. Josh says, going back to Mr. LaChapelle, says, why did they add a beard and leave it as the only pic? I know, literally, that's the only picture. I Googled it, and that was the only picture I could find. But like I said, the Charley Project information says the time he went missing, he didn't have the beard. I don't know about the mustache, and he had a buzz cut. So I don't know, but I mean, like once again, going back to if he was transient, I mean, probably not a lot of pictures available. Yeah, like Mustang said, it may be in the only pic that they had. That could be it. Ms. Z says maybe he missed a doctor's appointment. Yep, absolutely. All right. Let me get next one. This one is kind of interesting. And this may be the oldest one that we talk about tonight. If this is the one I'm thinking about, the circumstances. Let me get a drink right quick. Oh my gosh. Once again. See, Miss Jolene, this is what I'm talking about with dumpster fires. My computer decides not to cooperate with me. Oh my goodness. 1 second. Close out the tab. Start a new tab. Maybe that'll work. And see, with my upgraded, or it's not actually upgraded, we went back to the phone plan that I have. I have 5G now because on my old phone. Maybe that's not why it's working. I have 5G now, ultra wideband with the new phone. The last cell phone I had was it wasn't even 5G, it was 4G. But anyway, so things have been running a lot faster, like I said, until I actually need it to work. Here we go. Okay, so this is Alexander Haig Tafralien. Once again, I apologize for the pronunciations. He has been missing since July 10th, 1963 from Manchester. He is a white male. He was 54 years old when he went missing. Unknown height and weight. Brown hair. So Mr. Tafralien was last seen at the now defunct Saka bar in Manchester on July 10th, 1963. He was carrying a large amount of cash at the time, which was apparently the payroll for his work crew. So the next day, Mr. Tafralien's green Nash Rambler station wagon was found abandoned on a street in North End, New Hampshire. An unidentified man who was not Mr. Tafralien was seen wiping the car's steering wheel with a handkerchief before the vehicle was discovered. So Tafralien's wife was in California at the time of his disappearance, celebrating the adoption of their first grandchild. He was employed as an aluminum windows and siding salesman, and may also have been a bookie, which is a man who, for anybody who doesn't, I'm sure most of us know what a bookie is. That takes bets from gamblers. His loved ones described him as a loving family man who would not disappear without warning. Resulting searches over the years turned up no sign of him, and police do believe that he may have met with foul play. So in 2004, police acting on a tip, searched again for evidence in Mr. Tafralien's case using a metal detector. The detector indicated the presence of a metal object about 13 feet long and 7 feet wide, buried over a dozen feet under a diverted stream near the Manchester Country Club. So then apparently a civil engineer who studied the area believes that the stream could not have developed this diversion naturally, and authorities theorize that someone may have buried Mr. Tafralien's car with his body inside it, somehow under this stream or this, what did I say, diverted stream. And it says it wasn't until 2013 that they were able to conduct a dig in the area, but that search turned up nothing. Once again, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing there. So it says Mr. Tafralien was born and raised in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He studied piano at the New England Conservatory of Music before his marriage. His wife passed away in 1972, and one of his daughters is also deceased, and his case is unsolved. So if you do have any at 603, 66, my God, I can't talk tonight. 603-668-8711. All right, let me see. I think I found an article. Yeah, I was able to find an article. So I think it mentions in this article, or why is it not? Oh my goodness. In this article or a couple of articles that I found, that police or people are theorizing that since he was a bookie, could have had something maybe to do with the mob or the mafia. Um, that's just a theory that they threw out there. All right, so this article is from, when is it from? July of 2023, so not too long ago. Manchester man still missing 60 years after leaving social club. So Alexander Haig Tafralien, 54, was last seen on July 10th, 1963, at the Saka Bar, which is a now closed social club in Manchester. Tafralien, a local salesman and suspected bookie, sorry, my ads are popping up, did have a large sum of money with him. And once again, it could be when he was wherever he was, I can't remember now where he was leaving from. Said he did have a large amount of money for his work crew. That could also most likely had something to do with it too. If somebody knew that he had that much money, they could have robbed him and got rid of him. So once again, his station wagon was found on the North End Street the day after he went missing. Police acted on a few tips and searched numerous quarries in Milford 4 years after Tafralien's disappearance, and dug up land in Bedford 10 years later, but were unsuccessful. A noteworthy tip in 2004 led retired police detective Omar Bowden to find an object the size of a car buried about 18 feet under a stream in Bedford. So how do you bury a car under a stream? And nobody saw anything unless it's very, very remote area. So Bowden used a high-tech metal detector to find a 13 feet long, 7-foot wide metal object. Bowden said the feeling was wow. I don't believe it that they actually found something. A civic engineer concluded there was a diversion in the stream that could not have developed naturally. Police believe this diversion was done on purpose to cover up evidence. At the time, police believed that Tafralien's body was inside the car. Police were unable to provide enough evidence to get a search warrant to investigate this lead and conduct a dig in the area. Jeff Strelzin, who is the Associate Attorney General, said in 2004, quote, strictly speaking, this is a missing persons case, but obviously if they gather information, there's reason to believe there may be a homicide, then certainly we will take a more active role, end quote. As police are still trying to find out what happened to Mr. Tafralien. I know I'd read, like I said, I came across a couple of articles. I think one did mention this theory about, possibly being something to do with the mob, but He owned his own business. I just my opinion, I think it most likely had to do with this um, large amount of money he was carrying, and I mean, you would assume that people knew, some people knew that he was carrying this amount of money, and like I said, robbed him and did away with him. Really, Josh says there are a number of Facebook missing groups that have pictures, or sightings of him. Hmm, interesting. Or maybe maybe he was running from the mob. Who knows? Um, Josh says family members are showing pics of him as a kid visiting a fire station. Interesting. Yeah, because he says wiping the steering wheel isn't suspicious at all. Yeah, I think that was one of the things in whatever whichever article that I was reading, or maybe it was on Web Sleuths or something. Yeah, with being the bookie, and then because it mentioned, somebody was seen wiping the steering wheel that wasn't Mr. Tafralien. They were kind of making a link that could be mob related, possibly, which it could be. Who knows? I don't know how big the mafia was in New Hampshire in the 1960s. Anything is possible. Thank you. Josh says your missing profiles have a wide range tonight. Yeah, a wide range through time. Yeah. Well, I try to, throw in, because sometimes, I mean, I'm very interested in these like really, really older ones. I mean, like 1950s, 1960s. Um, but yeah, I try to throw in a range of timelines or times. Um, yeah, Ms. Z says, I think the bookie part of this is really suspicious and might have the answers. Yeah. See, just being me, once again, I'm not making light of his disappearance, but I'm also very interested in the mafia. Um, so yeah, that's very intriguing, very intriguing. So I don't know, I may have to do some more research, see if I can find anything else with this case. But yeah, very, very intriguing. Yeah, because somebody said, wiping the steering wheel well, somebody said, wiping the steering wheel is a very quote unquote mafia thing to do. And then somebody else said, well, actually, if it was the mafia, they would have never found the car. And actually, but if it was the car buried, something buried in the stream, you know, um, oh, that is a good point. Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, Ms. Z says metal detectors to scan for a buried vehicle near the Manchester County Club. Why were they looking for a vehicle when they found his car? That's right, they did find his car the day after he went missing. Hmm. That didn't even occur. I didn't even think about that. Duh. Yeah, it says his green station wagon was found on. Oh, don't tell me something went wrong. Come on, reload. Reload. Um. Yeah, his car was found the day after he went missing. So police acted on tips and searched the quarries 4 years after his disappearance. They dug up land in Bedford 10 years later. Yeah, so 2004 was when they said this noteworthy tip came in uh, about the object the size of a car being buried under the stream in Bedford. Maybe they're thinking, it was maybe a stolen car or a junk car or something. a car that nobody would miss, and maybe the car that if something happened. I mean, obviously something happened to him. Well, I might say obviously, but most likely, maybe that was the car that whatever happened to him happened in, and they thought they buried him in that car. Interesting. I don't know. That picture just looks like a. Once again, I'm not making light of it, but just yeah, he has the look of a bookie, of a somebody who might be messing around with the mafia. Josh says I'm getting numerous administrative upon estate probate notices for Alexander in 1965. Interesting. That is a good question. Ms. Z says, did the guy wiping the steering wheel have a vehicle they were looking for? Could be. Ah, excellent. Ms. Z says there was a noticeable organized crime presence in Manchester in 1963, primarily operating under the shadow of the Patriarcha crime family. Interesting. Um, Characterized by specific illicit activities and local figures. Manchester had no independent mafia family of its own, but it fell under New England mob territory, Providence, and Boston. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all coming back to me now. Yeah. Now I'm even more intrigued. I'm gonna have to definitely see if I can dig up more information about this case. Busy says in the 1960s, local operations centered on specifically illicit activities run by local figures. Um, During the 1960s, Raymond L.S. Patriarcha ruled the New England La Cosa Nostra with an iron fist. Interesting. Man, I'm gonna need to get some stuff together and do like a mafia, like maybe on a Friday night, do a mafia, something about the mafia live stream. Josh says we still need to collab about the missing elderly couple who fell in love. Oh yeah, who fell in love and disappeared with their car in Oahu in the 1960s. Yes, we do. We do. And I still need to get with Miss Z because I want to do something with her and Doc. I've just been so busy lately. Just so much. We've just had so much going on with the stuff around the farm. Like I said, whatever can go wrong at one time goes wrong, and then I had to get the new vehicle, and then it's always something. Um, Miss Z says the family extended its reach into smaller New England cities like Manchester, utilizing local operatives to control illegal rackets without maintaining a massive overt street presence. Yep, that's typical mafia. They want to stay in the background, have no direct connection. So I mean, it's possible that you know because the mafia it was in did was into the gambling. The mafia actually had their hands into everything they could get their hands into. But interesting. Miss Paula wants to know if there are any suspects. Mine would be whoever was wiping the steering wheel of the car. And if there was any, possible, I'm not going to dismiss the possibility of the mafia being involved. Ms. Z says the primary mob enterprise in Manchester in 1963 was illegal gambling and bookmaking. Hmm. Uh, Josh says Alexander was an Armenian immigrant. Yep, absolutely. Miss Nicole says, please, once again, hit the like button. Oh man, see that's what gets me, the kids. Josh says Alexander had two daughters who were preparing for baptism when he disappeared. Yeah, we can never forget Moo the cat. Uh, yes, all cats are drama queens. Missy says, yeah, Moo is the drama queen. Yeah, and I have two male cats, and they're drama queens. I'm telling you. All right, let's see who we have next. All right, so this is Laureen Rahn. So going back, so this is Laureen, and then I'm gonna scroll back. I think it is Denise was the very first one we did. So this is Denise. So these were the ones that were they were kind of making a connection to with Rasmussen, Terry Rasmussen, or Bob Evans, whatever he called himself when he was there. So that's Denise. And we'll go back to, and so this is Lorraine. I'm gonna get her information up. Maybe it won't take forever. There we go. All right, so this is Laureen Ann Rahn. So Lorraine has been missing since April 26, 1980. This is considered they classify this as a non-family abduction. She's a white female. She was just 14 years old when she went missing. She would be 60 years old as of 2026. When she went missing, she was 5'4" tall and 90 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. She was last known to be wearing a white V-neck sweater, a blue plaid blouse, jeans, brown shoes, a heart-shaped gold ring, and a silver and blue necklace. It says that she does have a prominent scar on her upper leg resulting from a fall onto broken glass, and she has a light brown birthmarks under each eye. All right. So Lorraine lived with her mother Judith in the third floor apartment on Merrimack Street in Manchester. She was a student at Parkside Junior High School. She made good grades. Judith's then boyfriend, so Judith is the mom. Judith's then boyfriend was a professional tennis player, and he and Judith were out of town at a tennis tournament when Lorraine disappeared on April 26, 1980. It said that she did normally accompany them, apparently, to these tennis tournaments, but that day she had asked to be allowed to stay home. Her mother agreed. It was during spring break at Lorraine's school. So that evening, Lorraine, a male friend, and a female friend spent some time drinking beer and wine in Lorraine's apartment. The male friend, later stated that he heard voices in the hallway. So he left through the back door because he thought that mom and her mom was and the boyfriend, her mom's boyfriend, were coming home. Um, he was afraid that he would get in trouble. He heard Lorraine lock the door behind him. When Judith arrived home at midnight, she noticed that the light bulbs in the hallways on all three floors of the apartment building had been unscrewed and everything was dark. Her own apartment's front door was unlocked. Judith checked Lorraine's room, thought that she thought that she saw her in the bed. But in the morning, Judith discovered that it was not Lorraine, but her female friend who was asleep in Lorraine's room. Lorraine was gone. Her clothes and brand new sneakers were in the living room. The back door was open. Her friend stated that she had last seen her sleeping on the couch. So apparently the male friend left out the back door when he thought, you know, he heard voices in the hall, thought the parents were coming home, didn't want to get in trouble. So then apparently the female friend was sleeping in Lorraine's bed, and Lorraine uh, or the female friend said that she had last seen Lorraine sleeping on the couch. So although the police initially suspected that Lorraine was a runaway, well, of course, Judith, the mom, did not believe her daughter had left on her own because Lorraine had left behind her clothes and purse. Within a few weeks, investigators reconsidered the runaway theory. They stated that it appeared as if Lorraine had left the apartment willingly and intended to return within a short time. So we know this happens. It is totally possible that she maybe was left the apartment to meet with some other friends, possibly, and then something bad happened after that. So Judith discovered that she had been charged for 3 California phone calls on October 1st of 1980, which was 3 months after Laureen disappeared. Judith did not have any friends or relatives in California at the time, and Laureen had never lived there. She had no ties to the area. 2 of the calls have been placed from a motel in Santa Monica to another motel in Santa Ana. The 3rd call was placed to a teen sexual assistance hotline. The physician who maintained the hotline at first denied knowing anything about it, but apparently in 1985 he changed his story. The doctor said that numerous runaway girls occasionally visited his wife at their home, and one of the young women may have been from New Hampshire. The individual claimed that Annie Sprinkle, a woman who allegedly worked with his wife in the fashion industry, may have had information concerning several runaway girls. Authorities learned that Sprinkle was involved in the adult entertainment industry, we'll put it that way. The adult entertainment industry, and they scanned several of her films in an attempt to locate Laureen. No evidence linking Annie Sprinkle to Laureen's disappearance was discovered. She has never been implicated in Laureen's case. An investigator visited California on Judith's behalf in 1986 and located the 2 motels involved in the October 1980 phone calls. Authorities said that one of the establishments may have been used by a CSAM producer named, quote, Dr. Z. That's what they called him. Investigators were unable to link this Dr. Z to the teen hotline. It is not known if CSAM images were involved in Laureen's disappearance. Roger Moraes, who was one of Laureen's childhood friends in Manchester, received a call from a woman identifying herself as Lori or Laureen in 1986. His mother actually answered the call and said that the person claimed to be her son's former girlfriend. The caller's identity remains unknown. One of Laureen's family members reported seeing a girl matching her description in a Boston bus terminal in 1981. For about a year after Laureen disappeared, her mother frequently got mysterious phone calls. She said they always came at approximately 3:45 a.m., so that's very specific. I mean, the caller would never said anything. Just basically, she would get a call 3:45 a.m. Nobody said anything. So Judith continued to receive phone calls around the Christmas holidays for several years from an unknown individual. She said that the person listened silently when Laureen's sister answered the phone, then terminated the call shortly afterwards. And it says the call stopped after Judith changed her phone number several years after Laureen vanished. So was this? I mean, to me, this has just my opinion, the hallmarks of like a trafficking case. I mean, this was in what 1980. I mean, it's possible if all this is, I mean, which it's never been officially linked with the Dr. Z and this hotline and then the CSAM stuff going on. So a witness reported that a sex worker in Anchorage, Alaska matched Laureen's description. The unconfirmed sighting occurred in 1988, and authorities said that the witness based his recollections on her 1980 photo. The woman was not believed to have been Laureen as a result of the time lapse. The boy who was drinking alcohol with Laureen on the night of her disappearance, he took his own life actually in 1985. He was never considered a suspect in Laureen's case. Judith, her mom, moved to Florida during the years after Laureen's disappearance and remarried. She believes that her daughter placed the 3 California phone calls in October of 1980. And I don't know about these mysterious phone calls that, came in at 3:45 in the morning. It says that Laureen enjoyed singing and dancing at the time of her disappearance. She dreamed of becoming an actress. So, yeah, I mean, so if she wanted to be an actress, where are you going to go? You're going to go to California. So the California could tie into it, possibly. Um, Judith believes that Lorraine is still alive, and some of Lorraine's acquaintances may know more about her disappearance than they had disclosed in 1980. That's interesting. Investigators continue to suspect that foul play was involved in her case, which remains unsolved. So then we go back to Denise Daneault, a 25-year-old who lived just 2 blocks from Laureen. Denise disappeared 6 weeks after Laureen did. She was never found. Once again, she and Laureen reportedly closely resembled each other in spite of the difference in their ages, but it has never been shown that their disappearances were linked. So that link was basically the link they were making with Terry Rasmussen. It says some agencies may list April 27th, 1980 as the date of Laureen's disappearance. So if you do have any information, call the Manchester PD at 603-668-8711. Let me see if I was able to find. Yeah, I was able to find a couple of articles for Laureen. So this first one is from foxnews.com. It is from May of 2026. A teen vanished from home decades ago. Now feds hope new image and shifting loyalties revealed the truth. So maybe this has something to do with the mom said that she thinks the friends know more than they're saying. So authorities are renewing their call for information in the decades-old disappearance of 14-year-old Laureen Rahn, who vanished from her New Hampshire home in April of 1980. Attorney General John M. Formella, New Hampshire State Police Colonel Mark B. Hall, and Manchester Police Chief Peter A. Marr said Monday that investigators are actively pursuing new leads in the case, which remains unsolved 46 years later. An age-progressed image of Laureen provided by the FBI's Boston division was also released alongside the appeal showing what she may look like today. And I will do a screen share and show you the picture. Laureen was last seen April 27th, 1980 at her home on Merrimack Street in Manchester. Investigators say she left behind all of her belongings, including clothing and money. There were no signs of a struggle inside the apartment. Authorities believe that she may have left voluntarily, possibly with someone she knew intending to return. According to the New Hampshire State Police, on Sunday, April 27th, 1980, at 3:45 a.m. So that's interesting. April 27th, 1980, at 3:45 a.m., the Manchester Police responded to reports of the missing teen. So was that when the mother called at 3:45? Because the mom said that according to the mom, says she got these mysterious phone calls at 3:45 in the morning. So was this just like the mom, I don't know how to put this. The mom maybe remembers exactly when obviously you're going to remember when you called to report your daughter missing. Was she kind of like manifesting these thoughts or images or these phone calls at 3:45? Because she said, according to her, nobody ever said anything. So Lorraine's mother told authorities that she had gone out of town with her boyfriend and that Laureen asked to remain home in Manchester. Her mother also said that when she arrived home at about 1:15 a.m., she noticed the back door of their apartment was open and the front door was unsecured. Upon checking the apartment, she found Lorraine's friend sleeping in Lorraine's bed and that Laureen was not in the apartment. Officials Make sure I didn't skip something. Oh, I did. So Laureen's friend told the police that she and Laureen had been drinking and that Laureen had been in bed, but left the bedroom taking a pillow and blanket to sleep on the couch. Laureen may have left the apartment willingly with the intent of returning momentarily, as she did not take any clothing, money, or personal items with her, according to police. Officials say the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit and Manchester Police are now leveraging modern forensic tools and available at the time, including advanced DNA testing and new evidence analysis techniques. Senior Assistant Attorney General R. Christopher Knowles, who leads the state's cold case unit, said, quote, Laureen was just 14 years old and her family has endured 46 years of unanswered questions. Our commitment to bringing Laureen home remains steadfast, end quote. So Knowles said that investigators believe someone still has critical information. He said, quote, we know that relationships and loyalties change after 4 decades. We urge anyone who has been holding onto information to come forward, end quote. So authorities are particularly seeking information from people who lived near 289 Merrimack Street in April of 1980, classmates or peers who knew or spent time with Laureen. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Cold Case Unit tip line at 603-271-2663, or you can email coldcaseunit@dos.nh.gov. So that's interesting because the mom said, once again, she thinks that friends may know more than they have said. So it's interesting that, 46 years after, the police, saying loyalties can change. Somebody may be, if you know anything, you need to come forward and say something. So that's interesting. So it said the male friend, so he left, he took out the back door when he thought the parents were coming home. And then at some point after that, Laureen left. I wonder if she was possibly going to look for the male friend who left, to find him, maybe to say, come back or whatever. And had, like they said, intended to come back to the apartment, and that's why she didn't take anything with her. And then something happened, obviously, after she left the apartment. All right, I was gonna show you this age progressed photo. Let me find it again. Oh, there it is. All right, give me 1 second. Take it a second to pop up. Let me get to your comments while we're waiting. There it is. So that's the age progressed photo. I don't know to what exact age it is. Yeah, let's see. I'm assuming talking about Laureen. Yeah, it says just a baby. Yeah, 14 years old. Oh, maybe Miss Josh. I hope not. Josh said, I have to say goodnight, folks. Good night, Josh, if you're still here. I don't know how far I'm behind in comment. Always good to have you here, Josh. Ms. Z says Judith's boyfriend then noticed the back door was open after Judith discovered Laureen wasn't in bed. Interesting, since the boyfriend says she locked the apartment. Yeah. But I mean, if she went out the back door, they're saying she could have went out the back door, maybe. So maybe that's why it was unlocked. But I think they said the back door, when Judith, the mom, got home, the back door and the front door were unlocked. But that is interesting. Yes. See, that's what I was wondering too, because we've in so many of these cases. So Ms. Z said, um, Lorraine's mother continued to receive these anonymous calls in the ensuing years before eventually changing her phone number. Most mothers would never change that phone number. Absolutely. Because in so many of these cases that they specifically, families, mothers, fathers, whatever, say we never change the phone number just in case they call, they're still out there somewhere and they call. So that thought went through my head also, why would you change the number? And it's interesting. It may just have been a coincidence. I mean, I don't know how to explain it because it says that she was reported missing around 3:45, and then these mysterious phone calls. The mom said always happened at 3:45. Was it just? I don't want to imply that the mother was maybe imagining these phone calls. Just, I mean, it would be understandable. Obviously, your 14-year-old daughter goes missing. But I just found it interesting that it was 3:45 that she said these phone calls came in. Was it a manifestation of grief somehow? I don't know. Um, but then I think it mentioned that maybe the sister had answered one of these phone calls though, and when the sister answered, they said that whoever it was on the other end hung up. So I mean, was it somebody taunting? If we go on the possibility that she could have gone to somehow ended up in California and ended up in some nefarious stuff, this trafficking stuff or something, and something bad did come, she did come to harm. Was it somebody, calling and taunting the mother? That's also a possibility. It's not unheard of, unfortunately, in these kinds of cases. Um, yeah, see the unscrewed light bulbs too. I wondered about that. It said on all three floors. So Ms. Z says another neighbor confirmed having heard voices approaching the apartment around that time when I'm assuming the time that the boyfriend heard the voices and took out the back door at 12:30 a.m. So who was in the hallway and were they the ones to unscrew the light bulbs? Absolutely. I wonder that too. These are also the questions I have. Um, Ms. Z says Lorraine's aunt, Janet Roy, also reported that on several occasions after her disappearance, a young girl called their family's telephone asking to speak to Roy, to their son, Michael. Yeah, that is interesting. So that would have been, so if that was her aunt, Lorraine's aunt, Michael would have been her cousin. Interesting. Yeah. Um, Z says, you would think Lorraine would speak up after all these years as she ran off. Yeah, I don't think she may, I don't think she just ran off. Like I said, I don't know. It's possible she may have gone after the male friend that was with them took off at the back door. Maybe she was going to look for him, and then something happened. Um, yeah, I definitely think something nefarious happened. I don't think she would just. I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I don't know. Yeah, you would think that after all these years. Yeah, I've also thought about that too. Z says I think the boyfriend self-deleting himself is suspicious. Traffickers use the boyfriend scheme to get girls. Yep, absolutely. Excuse me. Yep. Junior says, come on. Sorry, my computer's been slow. True Crime Garage did a show about. I like to listen to True Crime Garage. I did a show about this case. It was very good. Oh, I'll have to find that. Yeah, I think I've listened to some of their podcast on Spotify. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna find it. Yeah, Ms. Z says, what were their thoughts on the case? And see, I don't know, but I find the. Let me go back to the Charley Project information. The possibility. I mean, we can't ignore obviously the possibility that because it says she wanted to be an actress. Like I said, if you're an actress, where are you going to go to California? And they had these. We had the doctor something. Oh, come on, come on. Let me find it. Sorry, everything's moving slow. That whole thing in California with the helpline, the sexual assistance hotline, this physician who maintained the hotline. At first, he denied knowing anything about it. Then he changed the story. Said the doctor said that numerous runaway girls occasionally visited his wife at the home. He said one of the young women may have been from New Hampshire. Then we have this Andy Sprinkle, who allegedly worked with his wife in the fashion industry. Um, yeah, so we can't ignore, can't rule out absolutely, I mean, anything regarding that. Although nothing concrete has ever, no concrete connection has ever been made. But yeah. Um, Junior said they were suspicious about the boyfriend. I wonder if the male friend that was oh sorry, let me quit sharing and put my thing back up. I wonder if the male if the male friend that was with them, her and her female friend, was that the boyfriend at the time? I wonder. Maybe so. Z says, I agree with that. He says she locked up, but yet the mom's boyfriend finds the door open. Yep. Yep. Investigators say assigned to the case have stated they believe foul play is involved. So you talking about Junior? I'm assuming Junior said that maybe the True Crime Garage, the people who did that, they were suspicious about the boyfriend or the police or both. Interesting. I'm gonna have to find that episode. I'll have to look up True Crime Garage again. Yeah, Junior says if I remember right, it's been a while. Yeah, so yeah, especially if that was the male, if the male friend they were drinking with that night was the boyfriend that they're talking about. All right, let me see. I think I may have. Did I read this other article? Hold on, I think I have another article. Okay, so I do. So I have from Manchester Inklink.news. This article is from April 2020. 40 years after disappearance, family holds out hope for Laureen. A quote, in my heart, I want to believe that she is alive. So 40 years ago today, on a rainy Saturday morning, 14-year-old Laureen Rahn left her 239 Merrimack Street, third floor apartment, never to be seen again. She was an A student at the then Parkside Junior High School when she disappeared. The night before, she and two friends, a girl her age and a 21-year-old man. Now that changes the game. So she was 14. So I'm assuming that's the two friends that she was with. So the night before, she and two friends, a girl her age, who I'm assuming is the one that was sleeping in her bed when she went to sleep on the couch, and a 21-year-old man, according to her aunt, Jo Beth Swanson of Manchester, were in the apartment drinking beer and wine. Her mother, Judith, had gone out for the night with her tennis pro boyfriend. It was April, school vacation week, and Laureen, who usually accompanied them to tennis matches, wanted to stay home, and her mother let her. Late that night, the friends heard voices in the hallway, and the man, believing it was Lorraine's mother, hightailed it out the back door. Well, yeah, now that makes more sense. Yeah, if you're a 21-year-old man and you're alone in an apartment with two 14-year-old girls drinking, yeah. So he told police that he heard Lorraine lock the door behind him. But it was not Lorraine's mother. Ultimately, the friend fell asleep in Lorraine's bed, and Lorraine went to sleep on the couch. When Mrs. Rahn and her boyfriend arrived home at about 1:15 a.m., the hallways were pitch black on all three floors. Someone had unscrewed the light bulbs. So why would they do it on all three floors? Unless they were taking something out and needed, but why would you go down three floor? Well, if you going downstairs, three flights of stairs in the stairwell. So the front door to the apartment was unlocked, and she assumed the girl was in the bed, or the girl in the bed was her daughter. Her boyfriend, however, questioned why the back door was open, and Mrs. Rahn went to wake up her daughter and discovered the girl in the bed wasn't Lorraine. They immediately began searching for the teen, but not finding her, called police at 3:45 a.m. to report her missing. Come on, why are you not moving? Sorry. So oftentimes when a teen is reported missing, police generally will think it is a runaway. But Lorraine's case was different. She had left without taking any money or any possessions with her, not even the new pair of sneakers she had received for her birthday. Tony Fowler of Auburn was a Manchester detective lieutenant who worked on the case 20 years ago. Now retired, he believes Lorraine left the apartment to meet someone because she didn't take any clothes with her, that she had every intention of returning home. Sorry, this page is stuck and it won't move. Oh, come on. So, sorry, the page just froze up, of course. Oh my God. One second, one second. Oh my God, now everything is froze up. What is going on? Sorry, my computer just completely froze up. Oh, come on. Sorry, guys, my computer just completely froze up. Can y'all still hear me? My phone should be good. Ms. Z says Terry Rasmussen, the serial offender, also spent time in California, so could have made the calls. That's true, since no one answered. Sorry, man. Can y'all still hear me? Okay, thank you, Junior. I was just making sure because it's just my computer. I'm trying to get my computer back up. Okay. Um, 1 second. Okay, let me see if I can get my article to come back up because that's very interesting about the male that was in there. Being 21 years old, I just assumed that he was a schoolmate and was the same age as them. Okay. Let me find where I was at. Um, okay, this is where I was at. So oftentimes when a teen is reported missing, police generally think or will think it is a runaway, but Lorraine's case was different. She had left without taking any money or any possessions with her, not even the new pair of sneakers. Tony Fowler of Auburn was a Manchester detective lieutenant who worked on the case 20 years ago. Now retired, he believes Laureen left the apartment to meet someone, and because she didn't take any clothes with her, that she had every intention of returning home. While he would like to think that she is still alive, he believes that she is a victim of foul play. Uh, Swanson, who is Lorraine's aunt, said, quote, "In my heart, I want to believe that she's alive, but I don't know," end quote. She said that Judith, her mom, Lorraine's mom, came from a family of 11 siblings, so there are still some aunts, uncles, and cousins around. The aunt said, quote, "There's an aunt who doesn't believe that she is deceased and some who don't want to believe that she is deceased," end quote. Swanson has had the same telephone number since the day that Laureen went missing. She said the two were close. So that's interesting. So the mom, was it in this case, the mom changed the phone number. The aunt still had the same phone number. Uh, so the aunt was 22 years old and married to the mom's brother at the time of Lorraine's disappearance. She also had lived with the Rahns for about a year when they lived in Florida before relocating to New Hampshire. So if Laureen were still alive, she believes that she would have called her. Lorraine's mother believed that her daughter was alive in part because she told reporters of telephone calls that she received around 3:45 a.m. over several years. When she picked up, the caller said nothing. She said the calls were more frequent at Christmas time. Detective Lucas Hobbs, currently assigned to cold cases, said that there is nothing in the official police files about those calls. And then there were 3 calls charged to her phone bill from California. Uh, 2 of the calls, these were the calls, 2 made from 2 hotels. The third was for the hotline, teenage hotline, the teenage sexual assistance hotline. According to published reports, Ron called the number, and the quote doctor who ran the program denied knowing anything about the calls. Mrs. Ron told news reporters that investigators she hired later discovered that Dr. Z, quote unquote, Dr. Z was having young girls stay at his home and he was manufacturing the CSAM. Hobbs said there is nothing in the official police file about any of those phone calls either. If an investigator discovered that, he said he did not report it to Manchester police. The man who was with the teens the night of Lane's disappearance, later he was the one that took his own life. The 21-year-old man, we now know, police have said he was not considered a suspect. I don't know why. That's just my opinion. But if you, like I said, if you got a 21-year-old man hanging out with 2 14-year-old girls drinking, I would say, yeah, I would definitely be at least talking to him. But maybe they did talk to him, and he, they come to the conclusion that he didn't have anything to do with it. About 10 years ago, police received a tip that Laureen was seen in Massachusetts. Detectives, however, confirmed that the individual seen was not her. Swanson said she hoped an article about her niece, should she be alive, would let her know that family members have not forgotten about her and think about her often. I guess that's the end of the article. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know about this. Like I said, it um, may have not had the 21-year-old may have not had anything to do with anything, but anyway. All right, I think that was all that I had with Lorraine. Let me make sure. I think that her case was the last one I had for tonight. Oh my goodness, my computer's driving me nuts as usual. Yep, that was the last one I had. All right. Does anybody have any other comments, questions, whatever? So obviously we had the Harmony Montgomery case also from Manchester, but that one, I mean, she still hasn't been found. But wasn't the dad recently? His convictions were wait, I did have an article. Oh yeah, they did. Oh no, was it last year? Yeah, in June of 2000, no, this year. June of 2026, they overturned I got to see what's going on with that. They overturned the the homicide conviction of Adam Montgomery. So we'll have to see I don't know if what's going to go on with that. Oh wait, let's see. Um, Z says, oh yeah, he's getting a new trial. Yeah, that just irritates the mess out of me. Anyway, thank you, Mustang. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Junior. Thank you, Miss Z. Thank you to everybody that was here. Yes, once again, please hit the like button, subscribe, share. Sharing is the most important thing that we can all do to any video, live stream, missing persons, article, flyer. Share it, share it, share it to bring as much awareness as possible. Oh, hey, UCC. UCC popped in. Says, well, Drat will be replay crew, had to do yard pickup. Oh, that sucks. I hate doing yard work. And not melt. Godspeed. Yeah, we talked about Dolly earlier. Godspeed, Dolly. I vote for a state funeral. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's good to see you, UCC. Yeah, replay crew is awesome. All right, I'm going to get out of here now. Thank you once again to everybody who's in chat. Thank you to the lurkers. Thank you to the replay crew. I probably, I don't know if I can get something together. Maybe do a live stream Thursday night on something. I don't know. I'll put a post up on the community page. If there's any particular case or anything going, or maybe we can just discuss current true crime in the news, things like that. There's a lot to go. We got the Clancy trial going on. We got a bunch of stuff going on. You guys can get me caught up on what's going on. Maybe we'll just kind of have a chat and chill for a little bit on Thursday night. Get caught up on some stuff. But if not, which I don't see, barring any unforeseen things that come up, I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. But if not, what? Okay. Anyway, but if not, I'll be back. Once again, barring any unforeseen things that may come up next Monday. I'll have to look and see what city, and state we're doing next. But once again, I appreciate everybody being here. So I'll see you either Thursday, if not Thursday, next Monday. So in the meantime, everybody, be safe, be kind. As Dave says, don't die. That's what he says at the end of his live streams. I love you guys. Thank you for all your support. And I will see you guys soon.